So welcome to our Mothers Out Front Massachusetts Climate Action Call. My name is Diane Sokol. I'm a member of the Brookline chapter, and I also work with the statewide campaign team. For those of you who are not familiar with the Mothers Out Front Climate Action Calls, in the next 45 minutes, you will learn about a specific climate issue and we will take focused action together. Today, we will be learning about the legislative process here in Massachusetts and how we have influence through our relationships with our legislators. So here's a quick preview of the agenda for our climate action call today. We'll start with a brief overview of today's focus. Then we'll hear a personal story from Jen Doyle of Brighton about her experience building a relationship with her legislator. Next, we'll divide into breakout rooms for a few minutes so we can connect with each other on today's topic. We will rejoin the main room and hear the background information, and we'll move on to our action. We have set aside about 15 minutes of this call to take this action together. We'll come back then at the end for a few important announcements and next steps, and we will end this meeting promptly at 12:45. We do hope you'll stay until the end. Before we get going, I'll quickly go over a few norms for this meeting. Please rename yourself with your name and the city or town you're calling in from. You can use the chat to share comments or questions during the call. And please be sure that you stay muted when we are together in this main room. Closed captioning is available and you should be able to access that tool at the bottom of the screen. And finally, we are recording this climate action call. If you do not want to be seen in the recording, please use the Zoom controls to turn off your video. State legislatures can be powerful tools for the fight against climate change, and everyday citizens have more power than we often realize when it comes to influencing state policy. Today, we're going to explore how we can build stronger, more productive relationships with our state legislators, so we can be more effective in moving climate legislation forward. We'll make sure that we know how to contact our state legislators by phone and by email. We'll explore their state website to learn about their legislative priorities. We'll learn more about the legislative process and how we can promote our priorities. And then we will take action to build more support for one important bill that is part of our Mothers Out Front Massachusetts climate priorities this session. I'm happy to welcome Jen Doyle by a video recording, unfortunately, since she's not able to be here today. Jen is an active volunteer from Brighton. She's on the statewide communications team, and she does a lot of our social media. Jen is also on the statewide campaign team. And for those who attended our wonderful state assembly in February, Jen expertly organized and orchestrated that event. So we're sorry that Jen can't be with us in person today, but we'll be sharing a recording of Jen's story about contacting her Mass state representative.
Hi, my name is Jen Doyle. Thank you so much for having me here to talk about my experience, and I'm sorry I can't be there in person. I am actually traveling this week, and I had planned to be here live, but the reception is just terrible, so I'm recording this from my hotel room. But I did want to just talk briefly about my experience in building my relationship with my legislators. And I live in Brighton, which is part of Boston, and have been a resident of Brighton of the Allston-Brighton area for a frighteningly long time, I guess since 1996, and have been politically involved since about 2002. I did grow up being politically involved. I remember phone banking happening in my parents' living room when I was a kid. And so I've always felt that I've been somewhat involved, but it really wasn't until last June when I was part of a team that was asked to go to the State House to meet with my representative that I really met with a legislator for the first time in that capacity, and found that despite all of my years of being politically involved and being involved in my community, the prospect was terrifying. And that might not be how everybody feels going in for that first time, but I felt like, how am I the person in this room? Why are they going to listen to me? And what can I possibly say that that could give them any value whatsoever? Thanks to the team at Mothers Out Front who welcomed me into that first meeting. Thanks to their experience and their preparation and their just ongoing assurance. It was a great experience. And what I learned and what I wanted to share here was that my legislators really just cared about me, and they just wanted to hear what mattered to me, and they wanted to hear an authentic voice from their community. And that was huge, and that's what I brought to the table. And so I just wanted to share that something that really felt a little scary to me going in there was anything but. And since then, I have had the opportunity to connect with the legislators, to call them, to get to know their staff. And it's honestly been great. And I am excited to go into this next campaign knowing that I've started to build that relationship, and that will continue over the next 2 years. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry to miss the rest of the call, but I can't wait to work with everybody as we all get to know our legislators over the course of this campaign. Thanks. Bye.
Welcome back. I hope that you had some good conversations about your experiences connecting with your legislators. I will now turn the presentation over to Martha Simon.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm Martha Simon. I live in Burlington, and I just joined. I joined Mothers Out Front just in December after the election. I was looking for a climate action group to work with, and I was very impressed with the practical effectiveness of this organization of Mothers Out Front in helping us move toward a better climate future. And these climate action calls are an example of that work. So welcome to everyone. And I'm gonna just move ahead. My script is not moving ahead. Let me see if I can go back. Here it is. Okay. All right. So the way we influence state policy is what the topic is today, and that's through our legislators. They want to hear from their constituents. So you can write emails, you can make a phone call, you can go to their office hours and ask for meetings with them and their staff. Office hours can be a particularly good way to sit down with your representative. They often hold these at a coffee house and no one else has shown up, so you have plenty of time to talk with them. It's much easier than getting them to call you back after you call, and it's more immediate than trying to wait for an appointment. Think of yourself as an educator. You know more than you think, and sometimes more than your legislator, about our bills. Katharine Hayhoe has some wise words about connecting with people, all kinds of people, around the issue of climate change. Her advice is you do not have to make someone care about climate change for the same reasons that you do. Nearly everyone already has these values that they need to care about climate change. They just may not be the same values that motivate you. So when you're advocating for a policy with a decision maker, it's important to get to know them and get to know what values would motivate them to take action on this issue. So we're going to start with the basics today. Who is your legislator? How do you contact them? And what do they care about? Deb is going to put a link in the chat, and the link will take you to the state legislature's website. If you type in your address, you can find your state representative and your state senator. Is this, hold on, just let me make sure. Can everyone see that example of Mindy Dom?
Diane, I'm not sure anybody's seeing the slides.
I'm seeing
I'm seeing
it.
I'm seeing the slides.
I'm seeing them.
I'm seeing
Okay.
it.
I'm seeing them.
Good.
Great.
All right. So this is what you'll see. If you type in your address, you can find your state representative and your state senator. Start with your state representative. That's what we're going to look at today. Click on their name to open their profile. And first, you find their contact information. Now you take your cell phone and add their phone number to your contacts in your phone. We want it to be as easy to call your representative as it is to call a friend. Right now, you can learn a lot about your representative just by scrolling through the list of bills that they've sponsored. If they've put their name on a bill, it's a strong sign that the issue matters to them personally or that they know it matters to their constituents. So here's Representative Mindy Domb of Amherst, for example. A quick look at her sponsored bills shows that she's already active on climate-related issues like resilience, recycling, and plastics. If she's your legislator, you're talking to someone who already sees herself as a climate leader. So when you ask her to co-sponsor a climate bill, you can frame it as a logical next step in the work she's already championing. On the other hand, if your representative is more conservative and hasn't been active on the climate, it tells you something too. It means you'll want to frame your message differently, perhaps by emphasizing how the bill could lower utility bills or improve public health. The key is meeting them where they are and connecting the issue to their values and priorities. Another helpful place to look is on the Committees tab on your legislator's profile. It shows which committees they serve on, gives you insight into their expertise and areas of influence. If they're on the Telecommunications, Utilities, and Energy Commission, for example, they'll have a major role in deciding whether climate and energy bills move forward. That makes their support especially important. Sometimes we use the acronym TUE for this committee, and it is an important one for our climate work. The district tab is also worth a look. It shows all the neighborhoods that your legislator represents. This can give you a better sense of the different needs and priorities that they have to balance. Let's take a moment to walk through how the legislative process works in Massachusetts, because once you understand this timeline, it's easier to see where you can make a real impact. In Massachusetts, each legislative session lasts 2 years, and it always starts in January of an odd-numbered year. So this is 2025, an odd-numbered year. The current session began this past January. At the beginning of each session, right away in January and February, most of the bills for the next 2 years are filed. This is when lawmakers introduce the ideas they want to become laws. We're talking about thousands of bills covering everything from education to healthcare to climate change. Next comes a period where they can co-sponsor, and this is an important window for advocacy. This is where we are now. After the bill is filed, other lawmakers can sign on as co-sponsors to show support. But with thousands of bills floating around, legislators often don't know about all of them. This is where your voice really matters. A phone call or email from a constituent, that's you, can prompt the lawmaker to take a closer look and consider signing on. And while a long list of co-sponsors does not guarantee a bill will pass, it shows momentum. Once the bills are filed, they're assigned to committees based on their topic, like energy, transportation, or public health. The committees will schedule a public hearing for each bill where anyone, legislators, experts, advocates, and everyday residents can weigh in. This is another place where you can speak up, either by submitting written testimony or showing up to the hearing to show your support. Hearings can happen anytime between March of this year and March of next year, often with little notice, so it's important to stay tuned and be ready to shirt up and show up if you can. Excuse me. After hearing, the committee makes a decision. They can report the bill favorably, which keeps it moving. They can report it unfavorably, which usually stops it, or they can send it to study, which is a quieter way of stopping a bill. If the bill makes it out of committee, it may move forward on its own, or it might be bundled with similar bills into something bigger called an omnibus bill. From there, lawmakers can propose changes, and the bill goes through debates and votes in both the House and the Senate. If both chambers pass different versions of a bill, a small group called a conference committee works out the differences. Once they agree on a final version, both chambers vote again, yes or no, and if it passes, it heads to the governor's desk to be signed into law. All of this ideally wraps up by the end of July 2026, at which point the legislators go home to campaign for re-election. So that's a long set of information. Right now, we are in this co-sponsor period. The key moments for action are shorter than this full 2-year overview that I just described. Right now, the most important things we can do are 3 things. Ask legislators to co-sponsor the bills we care about. 2, watch for committee hearings and be ready to speak up in support. And 3, encourage legislators to talk to their committee members and help move the bills forward with a favorable report. Later, probably next year, we will shift to asking the legislators to vote yes on our priority bills, to deal with any amendments to our priority bills, and to work with the conference committee to make sure the final version of the bill reflects our priorities. The Mothers Out Front campaign for the next 2 years is Clean, Affordable Heat Now. Our legislative team chose several priority bills to advocate for that relate to our campaign. Today, we will focus on one in particular that we call the Tactical Transition Bill. Transition as in transition off of gas. To find a particular bill on the legislature's website, so back to the website, you can use the search field and put in the bill number. To see the language of the bill, you click on View Text. The main sponsors of the bill are identified as presenters, and this page will also give you information about the bill's status. This bill was referred to the Joint Committee on Telecommunications, Utilities, and Energy, which we often refer to as the TUE, as I mentioned earlier. Now we'll look at which legislators have co-sponsored this bill by clicking on the Petitioners tab at the bottom. Here are all the reps who have co-sponsored the Tactical Transition Bill. A bill with a lot of co-sponsors is viewed by the leadership as one that they will have to reckon with. Having a lot of co-sponsors doesn't necessarily mean a bill will pass, but the more co-sponsors it has, the more likely it will move forward in the process. The Tactical Transition Bill does not have many co-sponsors, which is one reason we're focusing our ask today on this. So here are the main parts of the bill. It's called an act relative to a tactical transition to affordable, clean thermal energy. It will ensure that the inevitable and necessary transition of the building sector from gas to modern, efficient, clean energy occurs in the most strategic, cost-effective way. The bill facilitates a strategic and effective transition from gas to clean energy by 1, requiring gas and electric utilities to proactively and jointly plan for the transition. 2, by incentivizing the gas utilities to install modern, long-lasting, clean energy infrastructure rather than wasting ratepayer money on costly, soon-to-be obsolete gas infrastructure. And 3, it provides resources for the transition to clean energy. And 4, it ensures the safety of the existing gas system while providing an equitable transition for gas workers. Now I'm going to pass this on to Diana Delescu, who will explain how we are taking action today.
Thank you, Martha. Hello, everyone. My name is Diana. I joined Mothers Out Front 3 months ago, and I'm a proud member of the Cambridge chapter and the campaign team. I've never called a legislator before, so I want to extend a warm welcome to any of you who are doing this for the first time as well. Now, it's time to take action together. We will share a link for the action toolkit that we have prepared, but first, I want to quickly describe today's action. We will start with pulling up the website of your state representative. The first quick action is to save their phone number in your phone. That way, calling your state rep is quick and easy. Next, get curious. What bills have they sponsored? Are any of the sponsored bills that you can also support and also thank them for? What committees do they serve on? What neighborhoods are in their district? And check, have they co-sponsored Bill H3539? Action number 2 is to personalize the call script in the toolkit using what you've learned about them. So you are most likely to leave a voicemail, but it is possible you'd speak to an aide, so be ready for a live conversation as well. Make a plan to call within the next 48 hours. You don't need to call right now. We don't want to jam the phone lines in case there are other people from your town calling the same rep, but please call within the next 48 hours. Once you've called your state rep, keep going. Repeat the same steps for your state senator. Want to take it further? Look up your rep or your senator's office hours and plan to attend. You can just drop in and introduce yourself, or you can be prepared to talk about a specific bill. Either way, it's a great way to grow your relationship with your legislators and to improve your advocacy skills. Deb is going to put the link to our toolkit in the chat, and you can click on this link to reach a document with all the instructions you need to take these actions. Before we quiet down to get to work, I am going to model what a call to your representative might sound like. And since I haven't called a legislator before, and I'd probably be very nervous, I will call after office hours to leave a voicemail. The particular representative I'm calling has sponsored many health bills, and she chairs the Committee for Public Health. So I've customized my script to reflect this key concern of air quality and health. Here we go. Hello, my name is Diana. I'm a constituent from Cambridge, Massachusetts, and a volunteer with Mothers Out Front. I'm calling to ask Representative Decker in regard to a bill I support, an act to tactical transition to affordable clean thermal energy, bill number H3539. I've noticed that Representative Decker has not yet co-sponsored this bill, and I would appreciate it if she would consider adding her support. I support this bill because it offers a strategic and fiscally responsible path to move away from fossil fuels, especially natural gas, and towards clean, affordable energy systems that heat and cool buildings. Reducing our reliance on polluting natural gas will improve the air we breathe inside and outside our homes, especially for our children. Thank you very much for your time and for all the work Representative Decker does for public health and education. I appreciate your consideration of co-sponsoring Bill H3539. That's it. We are now going to be quiet while we all work on research about our legislator and on modifying the script. And if you have questions, please put them in the chat. If you are struggling with tech, don't worry. We will get all these instructions by email to you later today. Deb is going to drop the toolkit again in the chat. Thank you, Deb, and see you back at 12:40.
They're feeling that now more than ever, it's important to accomplish change at the state and local level. We have real power here, and we can build relationships with our elected officials across the Commonwealth. They can see us as thoughtful, caring persons and as their neighbors. We can build trust and mutual respect by connecting over the values we share. And when we organize from that place of connection, we can win at the state level. And those state wins can also help create the momentum that can drive change, not just here in Massachusetts, but across the country. So later today or tomorrow, you'll receive a follow-up email with links to the toolkit we shared today, these slides, and also a recording of the call. Please forward this to a few friends, especially to your contacts in part of the Commonwealth without Mothers Out Front chapters. You've probably connected with friends and neighbors about the state of the world these days. Maybe you've even heard someone say, "I just don't know what to do." So you can invite them to start here. Invite them to watch the recording, learn how our state legislature works, and start building a real relationship with their local legislator. This is how we turn frustration into action and how we grow the movement that we need to win. Green Energy Consumers Alliance, Heat Labs, and Rewiring America are having a webinar on the Tactical Transition Bill to train advocates like us to talk about the bill in meetings with legislators. The webinar will be offered twice, on May 19th at noontime and May 20th in the early evening. The links to register are in the action toolkit if you scroll to the bottom under resources. You could also invite your friends to attend our Mothers Out Front monthly welcome call, and you could offer to attend with them if they're not so sure about it. At this event, we work to help newer activists identify the U-shaped hole in this movement. We want to help you find ways that you can use your unique talents, skills, and experiences to help build a stronger, more effective, and more inclusive movement for change. We have one coming up soon, Friday, May 9th. That's this Friday at 12 noon. Deb will drop that link in the chat also. And finally, we want this climate action call to be on your calendar every month. Our next climate action call will be on Tuesday, June 3rd at noontime on the topic of reducing the health impacts of gas stoves in our homes. And Deb, can you drop that final link into the chat? So many thanks to all of you for joining today, both our regular attendees and newer participants among joining us here for our actions. I hope that you have great conversations with your legislators and convince your colleagues across the Commonwealth to do the same. See you in June, we hope.